welcome to Picks with the Professor College Basketball Edition for Thursday, December 14th. Cousin Jared, I can't believe it's almost Thursday. I struggle with days in the first place because
Mhm.
is to do this 24/7,
Yep,
and
yep.
now with Mrs. Professor being, in the hospital until they decide that we're
Right.
going to have a child. It's like making it even worse. I don't know what days are what. You do a little bit better. You have a 9 to 5. So your days are a little bit better than mine, right?
I know. I was just gonna. I mean, I'm not gonna compare my situation to yours at all. But what is time? Because
Yeah,
I've been thinking
yeah.
that today is Thursday and tomorrow is Friday, and that's clearly
Ooh, that's
not the case.
and that's
Yeah.
bad. I had a real job for 5 years, and then I was a professor for 5 years, and that's bad when you think you're a
Yeah.
day ahead. It's better the other way around when the
Yeah.
weekend sneaks up on you. But we have a short slate for this Thursday. I believe there's 9 games, and we would do what we did on Monday for our followers over on Dub Club and just break down every game. But we are going to talk round 1 of college football bowl games, the first
Mhm.
handful of them after this. So we're just going to stick to 3 games. There they are on screen. We still got 4 A grade plays by the time we're having this. So that's going to kind of determine how that goes. If it's a good night or a bad night or a mediocre night for the A grade. Show pick so far split 1-1. Still got one of those out there as well. In the play of the day, 2 totals of the day have already won. The side of the day is looking good as of now. You never know with college basketball. So we might go 3-0 with our plays. I didn't get the total because of Jared, and you gave me a winner for the total of the day on what are days? Tuesday. And I didn't get it recorded, so I gave the people 2 of them here for Wednesday, and
They both won.
They both won. All of those ones. So it's been good stuff. Again, you can get the play of the day, the side of the day. I should probably call it the side of the day, the total, the side of the day. You can get on Dub Club there. $5 off your first month if you use the link in the show description. A bunch of other things as well, including access to our Discord chat, or if you're looking for betting advice or tips or questions or anything, all sorts of goodies over there. But again, we got a long night ahead of us, Cousin Jared, so we're going to get right to it here with East Carolina versus Florida. This game is being played in, I believe, one of the suburbs of Orlando, somewhere in the middle of the state, where I believe the Magic, it's like D-League team or whatever, plays or used to play. I don't know. Somewhere in there. It's not Gainesville, but it will be a pretty pro-Florida crowd. By everything you can imagine, and so it's similar to the Auburn game that we had talked about, that Jake and I talked about yesterday, where we said Auburn should be able to have their way, that it would be maybe more of a pro Auburn crowd, but the travel wasn't like right there. It'll be similar to that when we got the over there, thankfully, and of course Auburn won handily, and it'll be a similar situation here, except I think the crowd, while it will still be as helpful, the travel's a lot closer for Florida than East Carolina. So this one's pretty similar to that Auburn game, and that one you could argue a point or half a point extra for Auburn for kind of a half home court. For Florida, you might argue a point and a half for them, something like that. It's hard to see exactly, but a tiny bit of a home edge, but not the full thing. Absolutely. So when we say average margin to victory, Florida by 18.6, that's what the model projects as an average game. We are giving them a tiny bit of a boost versus a neutral site, but we are not giving them the full home court edge. Bottom line is that Florida is pretty good. Sideline has them ranked number 31 overall. Good offense, good defense. I mean, the total in this game is pretty high, simply because East Carolina is okay on offense, but is terrible on defense. This is a game that Florida should be able to name their score. And because, in Jared, we've talked a lot about it lately, I don't want to sound like a broken record, but I mean, the bottom line is, with the way that college basketball is going, for all the different reasons it's going there, it doesn't really matter. When you get a team with a pretty good offense against a bad defense, a team that wants to play fast, they tend to score a lot of points, and that correlates with covering a big number. It doesn't make it a lock. There are no locks in gambling, but minus 15 is B grade value according to the model and worthy of a play, especially on a short slate. What do you got for us?
I feel like East Carolina is going to struggle to get some stops in that game. So to your point of covering a big number when it comes down to it, I just don't trust East Carolina to get too many stops in this game. We've talked about the change to the block charge rules that really helping these teams that like to score a lot of points. And Florida definitely falls into into that category. When you look at the teams that Florida has played this season, as far as maybe a little bit similar to the teams they're playing here in East Carolina. They've got a 20-point win against Loyola, Maryland, a 21-point win against Florida A&M, a 21-point win against Florida State, 20-point win against Merrimack. And so, some of those teams may be worse than East Carolina is, but in the not too far off. And so Florida has shown multiple times this season that they can easily win a game by 20 plus points when they are outclassing their opponent. And that is what we have here with East Carolina. So as long as, the offenses continue to kind of dominate college basketball, at least with the good teams, the way the offense has dominated college basketball so far this season, I see no reason not to lay a number like this against a team like this.
And I think of this as fairly similar to the Creighton game that we had covered, and they lost outright here for us, unfortunately, on Wednesday. And it's the same thing. We talked about it then, right? You never know when a team's going to throw a stinker. We talk about you play 30 games in a season. 5 of them, you're going to look way over your head. Everything's going to work right. 5 of them, you're going to look pretty rough.
Yeah.
And now we're getting to, teams are getting to their second and third times around of those games, right? You're going to have a handful of them now as we're getting deeper into the season. The season's creeping along, right?
Yep.
And that was Creighton's second stinker, and we expect another couple in a 30-game season. So the same thing could happen to Florida. You never really know. Again, that's what we always talk about. We're projecting an average game, and on average, this Florida team, like you said, has shown the ability to just really destroy teams. And East Carolina is not good enough defensively to think they've got a real good chance here. That doesn't mean it can't happen. Anything can happen in sports. Again, you saw that with Creighton. Nobody expected them to lose quite like they did. So again, while anything can happen, when we talk about smart bets, the smart bets are about the number here. Not that Florida can't win by more than 20. We think they obviously can. It's just we wouldn't be loving laying 20 with Florida, but laying 15 seems like a pretty good investment. Doesn't mean this pick will win. As a reminder, our confidence comes in the process of a number of games. I'm not saying you have to bet every game, of course, but in multiple games, not in the individual game. So Florida minus 15, worthy of the investment as a long-term profitable strategy for us. 8 p.m. Eastern, St. Thomas and Marquette.
Any chance to talk St. Thomas? We want to take it.
Any chance to talk? We love us some St. Thomas.
Yeah, we do.
That's the bottom line. We love us some St. Thomas. But Cousin Jared, we usually are playing St. Thomas under. So this is quite a turnaround here to go over. I don't even know what to say on this. I mean, I am so used to talking about St. Thomas can drag any team down in the mud and play a low-scoring game, and the model's like, not so fast, my friend. But as we always talk about with betting, you should be willing to bet any favorite dog over or under if the number or price, if it's a money line market, is right. Or in some cases, the price and the number, right? If you're thinking like run lines and puck lines and stuff like that, and you gotta look at both of them, right?
Yep.
If it is right. And in this case, the model says that Marquette is so efficient on offense that the fewer number of possessions won't matter, and that this number of 138.5 is too low. A-grade pick over 138.5. Sideline says 145.2. Cousin Jared, what are your insights for us on this one?
I feel like St. Thomas, when you're talking about playing their unders, it's all about the pace, because I think their offense is probably better than we give it credit for relative to their competition, better than we give it credit for. And their defense probably isn't as good as what we would think, just kind of based off how their games have played out. Again, a lot of that has to do with pace. And because their pace is so strong, it takes a fairly special team to come around and kind of make them be able to kind of break out of that. And Marquette certainly qualifies with the number 9 rated offense in the country. It's just going to be really difficult when you're going up against a team that is that good, whether offensive or defensively, for you if you're in St. Thomas's position to kind of take control of this game, control the pace and everything. I think Marquette is easily going to be in control of this game. And I think, if I'm coaching Marquette, I'm thinking, I want to speed this game up. I do not want St. Thomas to do what they want to do. I'm Marquette. I'm the much better team. I've got the better players. I want to push the pace. I know that it says that they're number 146 in pace right here. I'm going to bet they play a little faster than that in this game, coming up on Thursday. So I just think this is an instance of Marquette's offense being too good, them being able to set the tone of the game. And St. Thomas, especially playing against an opponent like this, you see that like really it comes down. Normally their games come down to pace. And when you look at their offensive defense, it may not be exactly what we imagine it to be, just because they play so many games that are slow.
And I think I would add the same thing. And if you've been with us, this season, you've heard us talk about it, that because of the rule changes and the state of the game, et cetera, that the better quality teams tend to be scoring more points than the lower quality teams. And that's it's controlling for pace and controlling for differences in offenses and defenses, that the better offenses are better at offense than the better defenses are good. And the weaker offenses are weaker at offense than the weaker defense are. The spread on points is just much more into the offensive end than it ever has been before. And I think that's partially because that changed the charge block rule there and other things about trying to prep for the NBA, players staying in college longer, et cetera, like all those reasons. And we talked about that, right? Well, when you go look at St. Thomas, yes, they've played 7 unders. I could not tell you the most talented team they've played this year. It might be Portland State. And if that's the case, the game against Portland State, the total was 135, very similar to this one, got to 146, exactly what the model thinks. It might be Milwaukee, total was 142.5. That game got to 146. Those are the only 2 games they've gone over, the 2 teams that are relatively talented. They played under in Cal, against Cal barely to open the season. That was the first game of the year that everything gets a little bit weirder there. I'm not sure how good Cal is. The rest of the teams they played, Cal Baptist is another really slow-paced team. Wisconsin, Green Bay, not that good. Western Michigan, not good. Chicago State, not good. Idaho State, not good. They haven't really played anybody anywhere nearly as good as Marquette. And so how is that going to manifest itself with the side and the total? The side, tougher to say. We think it's pegged pretty well. But with regards to total, this is one of the few games this year where St. Thomas may end up in a much higher scoring game because they just aren't able to stop this caliber of offense. So this number we think way too low, over 130.5, A grade total for you there, as the model thinks it should be more like 145. Which takes us to our final pick here, UL Monroe and Lamar. Cousin Jared, this is a game that should be reserved for the extended cut.
Yes.
If not for the fact that there are a whopping 9 games. And a handful of these games just are priced really well. It's nothing but C and D grades and C grades that we're not really liking, or a couple of B grades that we're like, I'll play it if it gets to an A, but we're going to wait that out. That sort of thing. So we're going to roll with this one. As terrible of a basketball game this is up your alley. I feel like number 300, according to Sideline, versus number 316. But here's the thing is Lamar, according to the models, the better team at home. Not a super far road trip for UL Monroe, but far enough that Lamar should win this. According to Sideline, 63% of the time. That makes minus 135. Eek, barely into an A grade. At other shops, you might be looking at a B grade. But again, this number is going to move around. And honestly, that's one of the things I like about the money lines is you don't need 7 different accounts. You just kind of need 2 or 3 to shop around. You can get some drastically different prices, splitting your money around, and can find even better edges, even than what I'm posting here and waiting on the numbers and moving around. They move around all the time. That's why I think you should be on Dub Club with us, because we have the column for price needed for an A grade, and you could just sit around, shop around, wait, and just see throughout the day. The numbers move all over the place, and there's a lot of value to be had out there. In the market, and this one at minus 135 would qualify as that. Cousin Jared, what are your thoughts?
Well, kind of to your point, I'm going a little bit off topic here, but like with all the other sports, I can generally like follow sideline and assess how sideline has done throughout the day, and that will tell me how I have done throughout the day. College basketball, you have to throw it out the window because depending on when you're looking at lines, to your point, the lines move all the time. A total half a point one way could mean that you play it half a point the other way. You're not playing it, depending
And some
on
of these
when you
moving
look.
3 and 4 points anyway, and it's like,
Yeah, I mean, there was a play tonight with Nevada on the total. I think it went up 5 points from the time that I grabbed it. You would have been on the under, based on where it closed. We were on the over based on kind of where it was near the open. And so, yes, like completely, if you could drive yourself mad looking at college basketball lines.
I think
all day.
I think I have.
I
to
mean,
be honest,
we've borderline. I would say maybe done that.
we should change the name of the show. It's the Mad Professor.
Yeah, and I mean it wouldn't be too wrong. I mean maybe there's some other adjectives we could throw in there. Maybe mad's not the best one, but anyway, we can talk about that some other time. These are two not good teams. UL Monroe has 4 wins. 2 of those have come against Ecclesia and Champ. I hope that's an abbreviation. Christian. I mean, I've got nothing. At least I have heard of the teams that Lamar has beaten in UTSA, Bethune-Cookman, and Delaware State, which, again, that's not saying very much.
I'm going to say Bethune-Cookman and Delaware State are towards the bottom. That's not good.
Those are some.
But UTSA, that's a real win.
Yeah. And so, and so 2 bad teams. Lamar at home. I don't have much more for you on that. When you say that this is my type of game, generally this is my type of game in that I can help you with a total. Picking a side is not my strongest suit, I would say. I'm if there was an edge on the total here, I'd be more than happy to break that down for you. But don't worry, friends. We have a total of the day that our Dub Clubbers will be getting. You can find it as well on Instagram, TikTok tomorrow. So yeah, just there's another total out there that we like. This game, it's fine. Sure. Sideline says it's a good play. I have faith in Sideline.
And I think, you probably hit on something where we talk about how the A grade sides have been struggling. And I think that's part of it here that, if I were to just only play the lines the night before or the morning of, you probably end up with a whole different set of results. And that's the tough thing. That's why we talk about trying to grade the model and how we're doing that. And it's really kind of mostly about, hey, if we say 75%, does the team win 75% of the time, and how close that can we get? But the numbers are moving so much that you play different things at different grades depending on when you're pulling all this stuff. So it can kind of make you a little bit crazy. But again, what we're trying to do here, give you a taste of it on YouTube. And if you're with us over on Dub Club, what we're trying to provide over there is all the information so that whatever level better you are, whatever style better you are, there's kind of something there for you, because it can be done a lot of different ways here. But the bottom line, as little as we've talked about this game, it'd be fun to have Jake on and talk about this game, because he'd have to be like looking up the rosters and be like, who are these people? Because we've gotten to the bottom of the barrel. But the bottom line here is that, neither one of these teams is good. It's going to be awful on awful, and then even worse on even worse. I mean, when you see it on the screen, UL Monroe, no offense, Lamar, no defense. But the talented, quote unquote, part of this will be Lamar when they have the ball, strength on strength. But the bottom line is kind of a toss-up-y type game. Except for the fact that Lamar's at home, and the home court advantage matters in college basketball. Knowing what you're shooting at, the travel, especially midweek travel, especially small school midweek travel, these things matter enough that we think Lamar minus 135 makes for a good pick. So just eking inside the A grade for you. There are 2 A grades here. One of them I had to make the font smaller just to fit on the recap there, if you're with us on YouTube seeing that. But as a reminder, again, join us on Dub Club for more picks. And again, hit up TikTok and Instagram. I'll also post it on Twitter here, the total of the day, another A grade that we're giving everybody. A little more generous on a short slate on Thursday, because we are not wanting. Sometimes we love to jump into the B grades and the C grades. Other times we're a little bit more skeptical of it. But again, what's provided over on Dub Club is all that information. So if that's the type of thing you want to do and you want to look into that, we've got all that information available to you according to what the model thinks is it accurate, is a reasonable price. Again, there's that QR code if you're interested in saving $5 off your first month and locking in the price of this year forever. Also, ad-free shows. We've done ad-free shows before, and I kind of finally figured out uploading a separate copy of the show to YouTube for ad-free viewing for our people on Dub Club. So just trying to give the people all their money's worth over there. Cousin Jared, any parting words before we take a breather and then talk college football?
Stick around for the college football. Watch the college football show. The player-based model really being put to the test with opt-outs in bowls. Will guys who have entered the portal play or not? We are putting sideline through its paces for sure with this bowl season.
I love it. I love our first 7 picks because Jared, I think we're going to go 40-0 on college football.
I mean, that was the first thing I said. I got on here and I'm like, how much money are we going to make in college football?
I believe you said specifically $1 million. So we've set the bar.
We've set the bar high. And what is it? You shoot for the moon. If you miss, you land among the stars.
Yeah, there's some cheesy singing in there. All right, everyone. Again, reminder, college football episode. Watch the NFL if you haven't yet. We got a bunch of Sunday picks. Otherwise, though, we'll talk more college basketball in about 24 hours.